Hearing signs of life.
See, I'm here now.
Okay.
You're not alone anymore. I'm going to put you on speaker, but I won't have my mic on, but I'm still here.
Okay.
That works.
Yeah.
This is a sound test.
I heard that.
Yeah, I think it's actually going from that microphone in the center.
Okay. This is only a test. If this been an actual emergency, we wouldn't be here. We'd be down the street already.
Hi, Sarah.
Hey, Sarah. Hey, Sarah.
Is it cold out?
No, I had to take
Nice.
all this layer of the coats and
Yeah.
stuff this morning, and then suddenly I'm boiling hot out there.
It's a nice day.
Sun is out.
So weird.
Who do we have online?
I'm here, Mike. Can you hear me?
Hi, Seth. And I can. And we have Sarah and Michael here. My understanding that would be a quorum.
It is, yeah.
I'm on the line too. Ken Leggett.
Yep, thank you. Sarah, would you like to run the meeting
Okay,
in the absence of our chair?
yeah, so John Lee is not
No, he's
not here. All right, so first is the minutes of the last meeting. I need a motion Can you hear me out there? Need a motion to approve the minutes of November 15th.
I'll prove it.
Okay,
So moved.
second, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, portfolio review.
Okay, I'll handle that, Sarah, thank you. We have a couple of people who are on our list of 1 month past dues, and we're in touch with them. We did receive a check from Brown's Car Sales, so they are now off the list. And then I just have a very brief update on train time. They had interest from an individual who operates an amusement ride or an amusement park in New Jersey, and he checked in with the amusement ride inspector in New Jersey, who has lost faith in Bellatory because they allowed their certification to expire in that state. So unfortunately, that is not moving forward, but she has had interest from another potential purchaser in Texas, and so we just continue to sort of work with the owner and as she vets these interested parties.
Martha, I didn't follow. I looked at the report and there were, a spattering of delinquencies. Are you saying all of those are current except for train time?
No, we're still 711 County Route 3, which is the pond, is one payment past due, and Hudson Clothier is one payment past due as well. And we have emailed both of them.
Okay. And then there was one for Browns.
And they made that payment.
They made the payment. Okay. So it's really just 2 that are delinquent
Correct.
aside from train time.
Correct.
Okay. And what's your gut? These other 2 will pay, or any sense of that?
Yes, I'm confident they will pay.
Okay.
I think what Martha and Lauren have done is, because of the amount of the payment, I mean, with Hudson Clothier, is it just the one loan?
Yes.
It's $400, and with the pond, is it 2 loans at 400?
It's 2 loans.
So it's 800. I mean, the key is to keep them current, because if they fall behind, then it's going to be hard for them to come up with 2 or 3 months at a time of payment. So we are in touch with them and working through it with them.
Right. Okay.
Okay, that. We need to approve the portfolio review.
So moved.
Okay, second. Mike, all in
Second.
favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we'll get to the loans. Just wanted to bring up. Before we get started, I just noticed that this one, we've got the brother, Mike, of Joe, who's being considered for the board. So I reviewed the conflict of interest policy and the nepotism policy. And I think if this is a good time to bring it up to the board, because we haven't had this discussion in a while. So I think next week I can talk to Dave about bringing it up, because this is a great example of potential conflict of interest. And so I read all these documents, and I think going forward, I think when something like this comes up, it looks like the governance and nominating committee or ethics officer, which is both me, should be brought into the discussion. And then, we disclose it. I believe there needs to be something written so that we have it down, so we don't have problems we had in the past with this. So that's my suggestion for that. And
just for the record, Madam Chair, the owner of the applicant, Michael Benson, the owner of the New York Speed Shop LLC, is the brother of Joseph Benson, who has been interviewed and recommended by the Governance and Nominating Committee to the CEDC board to join the CEDC board, but that vote has not yet taken
No.
place. So just so that we have the,
And they will probably both be at the same meeting next time, so he will not be voting on this,
No,
but then just.
he won't take
going forward-
office till January. His term will start on January 1.
Okay,
So we should, I believe, do this loan approval before that vote.
yeah. I mean, I think that's good, and just going forward, I don't know if you talked to Joe about it, but just we'll make sure that he knows that he always has to recuse himself from any discussion of that, like if his brother gets in arrears or something like that, we have to keep it all separate.
and he'll have to go through the ABO training as well.
Now, Andy, you could just review the conflict policy with respect to whether a board member individually or through a business that they own a majority of the interest in is eligible for a loan, or is it, that's something you want to take a look at and report back to the
Yeah, I
board?
think I need to take a look at it.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it said that Mike is described him as a co-owner.
Of another business.
Well, it sounded like of the farm, so if
No.
maybe if you could clarify,
Yeah, he's not.
okay,
To my knowledge, he's not.
might be a little unclear in there,
Yeah.
just so we got.
Yeah, I just think if we restate the policy at the board meeting prior to any vote, that
Yeah,
then, a conflict, as I understand it, in and of itself does not preclude the board taking action. It's just what is the recusal process and what is, because otherwise you would never get anyone to serve on a board.
right. No, I had a situation in the county when my daughter was working for something, so I would make sure, and I'd always talk to the lawyer about if I needed to recuse myself from something. Okay, so
It's a
now
good discussion.
Oh, for sure.
we will discuss some of the New York Speed Shop.
Okay. The New York Speed Shop LLC is an automobile restoration and engineering business. It is owned by Michael Benson. Mike Tucker and Dave Finger and I met Michael when we visited Shadowbrook Farm a month or two ago. And at that time, I was talking to Michael about his business, and he asked if we did in fact provide loans to startups. I told him we did, and he followed up shortly thereafter. He was fairly well convinced that he could fund the equipment he needs through the cash flow from the business, but determined that he would move much more quickly and ramp up more quickly with a small business loan. We assigned Charlene Chai, one of CEDC's consultants, to work with him on this, but he wanted to do his own projections. And she explained to him what it is he needed, and so he did that entirely on his own. He seems very sharp. He's a recent Virginia Tech graduate. He actually formed the business in 2018, but this year is will be his first full year in business. So we don't have any tax returns yet, but he was able to provide us with interim financials. He's a QuickBooks user, and it looks to me like he'll be able to repay the loan with no great difficulty from using his cash flow. He's been very conservative in operating this business and in his personal life as well. He does have savings on the personal side, but he's let us know that he's saving to put a down payment on a home in a couple of years. He only has one credit card that is being paid as agreed. He does have a personal loan from his mother that was used to help the business get started, and he's making those payments regularly. He currently rents his home. There's an extensive list of equipment that he plans to purchase, and that was included in the business write-up, and that's what will serve as collateral for the loan. So what we're proposing is a loan of $23,500. The interest rate is 5%. The term is 6 years. We'll have a personal guarantee and a lien on all of his equipment, both existing and new. And the monthly payments will be $378 per month. Are there any questions?
Yeah, I just want to run through a couple things, not necessarily in lack of support, but just to make the record. So this is all, there's no split with SBA. This is all CEDC.
No, this would be an SBA loan.
Oh, this is all SBA.
That's what we're proposing.
Okay, so the points that I noticed, well, one question is, he says he has a minor amount of equity interest, but he also borrowed 5,000 from his mother. So was that actually the equity interest that he's laying claim to here? In other words, are we really dealing with somebody who's got no money into the deal because he's borrowing what he needs from us, and he's got 5,000 that he borrowed from his mother that served as his equity?
10, isn't
Yeah.
10.
From 10 from mom.
What's
Yes.
that? Is
It
that
was
a correct?
10 from his mother, actually.
Huh?
It was 10 from his mother.
Okay, well, I'm just reading what it says, okay. So in other words, I think we should just identify this in terms of risk management. Not that it's not acceptable. I get that he's shrewd and smart and whatever, but he on the face of it is making a representation that he has a certain amount of equity, but I think that was borrowed money.
Well, he is investing, if you look at the equipment list, and I'm trying to get it in front of me, he is putting in money for the first and last month's rent. Let me see if I can get that in front of me.
Yeah, I saw that, Martha. What I'm saying is if that $4,050 was coming from the money he borrowed from his mother.
Oh, I don't know when he took out that loan from his mother. As I say, yeah, he started the business, I think, back in 2018, and he
Yes.
needed computer equipment to get started. So I'm assuming that's what that money was for. And then he's taking the investment of, what is it, $4,000 from his own, I think it's actually coming from cash flow from the business.
Okay. Okay. The other part, which again is just, I think also on his 2022, he references a CEDC loan at 5 years, but I think you're talking more like, what, 7 years, 6 years?
We did put in 6 years, and we just wanted to give him that option. If he prefers a 5-year term, then that's what we'll offer.
Well, he's got the payment wrong, that's all. I mean, he's using your payment, but he's calling it a 5-year loan when it's actually a 6-year loan.
Then ours should be 60 months instead of 72. That was an error on our end. I'll double check the number.
Okay, well, you see where I'm talking about in his projections?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, he puts in the
So,
378.
right, okay. And then the last thing I just want to say, again, for the record, I'm in favor of this but we do all recognize that the viability of this is he's got 2 projects. And those are projects that are several months long. He references that he can do consulting work and this and that for other agricultural industry needs and whatever. But the bottom line is, he's got 2 cars that he's working on, and with 2 probably individuals. And if something goes belly up, he's scrambling.
Yeah, 2 cars and 2 motorcycles, as I understand it. But yes, I agree. He doesn't have an extensive client list at this point.
Okay, and are we sure that he's in the heart of Chatham zoning, whatever? I don't know this building. Is it permitted to run a business, commercial venture?
Well, who was in there before him? Bill Stratton, the builder, was there previously. He was just waiting for Bill to move out so he could move in. So I'm assuming this has been already.
And he's in Andrew McDonald's building?
Yes.
So it was the old consolidated.
Oh, no,
cable.
It's a barn on
It's a
Andrew's
barn?
property, yeah.
Good.
Well, that's why I asked, because it's a barn on somebody's property, which, starts to sometimes smell like a residential use that somebody, especially a contractor, can just store their stuff in there and they kind of work around. He's got he's got a business that's a little more visible. I guess, Chatham is particular. I would think that we would want to just make sure that he is a permitted use?
We will absolutely make sure it's a permitted use.
Okay, that's all I have on this.
Speaking of the barn, I had a question about insurance, because I thought with motor cars and oil and stuff in a barn, that, I mean, did you check into the insurance he has? Is it adequate?
I haven't, but he will have to have us named as additional insured on his policy before we can close on the
Yeah.
loan. So we will have a chance to review that.
We should review it in the context of, if the barn burnt down as a tenant and burnt the car up and destroyed somebody's fancy
Yeah.
car, where's the liability?
Right, but just make sure he has all that covered.
So he may need similar insurance to what Brown has, right, for an auto shop.
Okay,
Other than that, I think it's fascinating that, I think in this county, we have a lot of entrepreneurs. And he's definitely one of them, and somebody who's had these interests most of his life and really built this up. So he comes out of college and he's got all these, ready to do something like this.
Yes.
So, any more comments? Any more comments online?
Nope.
No,
All right, motion to approve the loan and put it forward to the full board.
actually, because this is under 25,000, it doesn't need to go to the full board.
Okay. But we need to approve it?
Yeah,
Okay. Then we need a motion to approve the loan.
I would make the motion to approve, subject to Martha's and Lauren or Lauren's just nailing down these couple of things about, the zoning and insurance.
I'll second that.
Take it to the full board.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Mike?
I think I'm opposed to it. I'm just not quite sure yet. I don't know, what should I do? Like,
Just vote no.
no, yeah, so I vote no.
Okay. You want to give us some
I just feel like
worries?
all of those questions are valid, and until, I guess that's definitely, those questions are answered, then I would feel comfortable voting in approval of it.
Okay,
With the insurance and the use of the building and all that, I feel like there's so many variables right now that maybe next month would be better.
want to put it off till next month? when we get
Well, that creates the
Questions
issue with
answered.
the conflict.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
I don't know, I just don't want to move too hastily with those kind of big.
Well, how about,
well, the motion
Essentially-
is subject to.
committee has made it subject to that, and perhaps the committee through the board ratifies it at the full board meeting with the answers to those questions.
That's fine.
Does that work, Andy?
Yeah, you could do that, and that way they have another week. to
Okay,
pull
we
all
can
that.
be.
Yeah.
So it's
Or at least
the
the-
whole board, and
yeah,
if it's not.
It's been approved, by the committee, subject to that, and the staff will report to the committee at that meeting. I don't think it requires, I'm not suggesting that it would require board approval, but you would, before closing it, you would have to, next Tuesday, be able to address the issues that the committee raised.
sure.
Okay. All right, well,
So then I agree.
you can leave a no vote.
Well, we're gonna we're gonna look at it again in a week, right?
Yeah,
On that condition, so.
okay,
Yep, I'm fine with that.
all right.
Okay, I think I'm
Loan's
gonna
approved.
switch up the order of the next two, if that's all right.
Wait, one more thing. Sorry, Martha, but also the third thing is you were gonna go look and see whether that's 60 months or 72 months?
Yep,
Okay,
yep, we'll get that clarified.
okay.
Okay, so now we will move on to Recon Cycle Works, which is better known as Velo Domestique in Valatia. It's a bicycle shop. Many of you may be familiar with it. It started out in Chatham and they moved to the Valatia area a couple of years ago. They are right on the Empire Trail, which has been very helpful. especially in 2020 when we were in sort of lockdown mode. People were buying bikes and getting their bikes repaired and riding bikes. He had a very good year in 2020. This year has been a little bit slower. What the owner, Ron Gaynor, has found is that prices for parts have increased, prices for bikes have increased, and he has to order in larger quantities now in order to get what he needs. I had actually talked to Ron a couple of years ago, and he really was reluctant to take on any business debt. But we had him work with our consultant, Brian Zweig, who helped him see that this would enable him to buy the inventory that he needs and the parts for the coming season. And he would be able to repay the loan and the interest without any great hardship. So he's looking for $15,000. The money will be used to purchase inventory and some security cameras. And again, this is going to be at 5%. This will be an SBA loan only. We'll have a lien on all business assets and a personal guarantee of the principal. And this is a 5-year term with payments of $283.07. There was, he gave us projections, and in 2021, there was actually a little calculation error in the Excel spreadsheet that I sent out, and I didn't get the correction until today. I don't think it made any big difference in the outcome here. His cash flow for this year is a little bit tight, but he's projecting it will be better in 2022 once he has this loan and he's able to make sales and do the repairs. It's a good business. It looks like a good business. It's growing. And he's been very conservative financially. I think, as I say, he was reluctant to take on any additional business debt. He does have a line of credit with Bank of Greene County, but he's paying on that, and he'll be able to make the payments on this based on the cash flow that he's projecting. Are there any questions?
Yep.
I do want to let Sarah know that I have provided counsel to Vila Domestique for quite a while and still do. And along with Martha, has been encouraging them to apply to CEDC for several years. So I don't have a vote. I don't think I'm going to be needed to do anything on this particular loan, but I want it in the record.
All right, thanks.
So again, I'm just raising these issues not to sound like a negative whatever, but I think part of the job is to kind of float out that we considered these things. So one thing that comes out is he makes no money. He's not in his first year of startup, but it's you know, he's showing by his own representation that he's making $3,000. That always is a kind of thing that goes off in my head. If it's the first year somebody's ramping up, but he's 5 years into this business and that's what he's making. Okay, it's just a thing that I noticed. The other is like, who's making the money? Is he married? Is the spouse making the money here?
He is married, and his wife is a bookkeeper for Harrington's and does the books for his shop as well.
Well, it's just if he's showing in his 2020 tax returns, he's showing income of 122,000. He's got some rental income. I'm not guessing much from this business. So she's earning $70,000, $80,000 a year as a bookkeeper for Harrington's.
Well, I'm not sure. So what are you basing it on? His salary, actually?
Well, it says here his 2020 tax returns show income of 122,000. He's got rental income of about 30,000. And I'm sure he writes off expenses on that. So it's probably not even 30,000. And I don't know from his own projections, he doesn't seem to be making a lot of money from this business. So that's just my overall, again, I think there's enough here to do it, but it raises a question for me, like the guy doesn't seem to be making money. Is his spouse, supporting the mortgage and the $35,000 of credit card? I don't quite get it.
Yeah, I had a question whether he was paying himself because their salaries.
Not on the projections, not on the 2021. There's no payroll.
The salaries go up in 22. Martha, do you know what?
I think, oftentimes, and I think actually this comes up in one of our other loans. he shows salaries and he takes his own draw from the ordinary income. So, yeah, he's really not paid on salary.
Right, and he shows $3,000 as his projected profit this year.
Yeah, this was not a good year, and I think that's why his wife did go back to work full time.
Okay, well, again, just floating out that we understood the risks.
Yeah, definitely, that secondary source of income coming from his wife's job is very important in this case.
And the rental income from those properties.
Right.
There you go.
There was a funny term there, it said rental not as needed, but rental something, it sound like they're not rented all the time.
I think at least one of them might be a little bit more of a seasonal
The condo,
potential.
I think.
There's a
condo,
Connecticut condo.
Yeah. I've been a customer of that shop for years.
Oh.
I know they do a lot of business. And Ron's pretty savvy with it when it comes to business, and I know there's a lot of money going into that business, so I'm not worried. And this is for parts to sell. So it's not like, they're fixed assets, he's gonna turn a profit on them. The trail being right there, the business has been good. And I really don't see a problem with the law as it's going. I just know the biking industry is just the stuff's gonna fly off the shelf once he gets it. They can't keep enough stock anywhere. I mean, I'm trying to buy stuff online and the prices are going up. So I mean, if it was for something else, maybe I'd be more hesitant, but because he's buying inventory just to sell it again, I don't think it's gonna be an issue there.
Yeah, I just am flagging the fact that he's declining. His numbers are going down, not up. That's just from a lending point of view. It's something that comes to my mind. I'm not saying I'm not supporting this. I'm just, again, we're doing a loan where somebody has acknowledged a substantial drop in income in the year that they're seeking the loan.
I think too, he had to order things in smaller quantities and has not had great efficiencies because of that. That certainly doesn't maybe explain the whole drop, but that's definitely been going on for him this year.
Right, okay. Well,
The drop is he hasn't been selling because he hasn't been buying as much. So
Exactly, it's sort of a chicken and egg thing.
Yeah, exactly. I know a lot of bike stuff has been going down in general since 2021 happened with the lockdowns lifting up and stuff. So there was a small trend of people going back to gyms and not using their bikes as much. So just comparing it to 2020 to 2021, yeah, it's going to drop. Everything's been dropping. Peloton, they've been dropping for last year. So it's just, I think it's part of the nature of his business, but I don't think he's not going anywhere. Like Seth, you'd ask if he's married. Yeah, he's married. He's got 2 kids. His son's like same age as my son. Like he's going to be in accounting. He knows the bike industry. He's not going anywhere. He was a mechanic for the bike teams in Europe and all around the US. So he knows his stuff. He's sought out all over the place. I know people come from all over Massachusetts and up past Albany, Saratoga, just to have him work on their bikes.
yep, yeah, understood.
Yep.
Okay.
Does he need any help from us on business acumen?
Well, his
wife's a bookkeeper.
He worked very well with Brian's wife. He was able to provide all the numbers that Brian needed. I think he's got a good handle on the business, and he knew he needed, some financial assistance. But yeah, we'll see if he can't maybe benefit from working with Brian sort of long term.
Yeah, make sure he makes enough profit.
And or some marketing or.
Right.
Yeah. All right, any more questions? Motion to approve? This one is also 15,000, so it does not go to the full board.
Correct.
So this is a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
I have to, this is Brian Stiggles here. I have to note my recusal.
Okay,
Right.
So noted. All right, Mike Malinsky's made the motion. I need a second.
I'll second.
All right, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Madam Chair, I just wanted to point out that not including these two loans, which total, how much, Martha?
These two loans total 25,000.
25,000. CEDC, including these two loans, will have made 24 loans to 15 businesses this year for a total of 545,000. And do you think we'll have one or more, or these are the last two?
We might have another Moon Brewing, which has already been approved, and he's just waiting for his liquor license.
Waiting to close.
But it's been, is that in these numbers?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's 545,000. Last year, we had an all-time high of 650, but we also did the $15,000 emergency loans. And, you know, I think it's a great credit to Martha and to Lauren and to the rest of the team who support their efforts, and just wanted to point that out, and I'll do that at the board meeting as well. It's a team effort. The bookkeeping and accounting staff have to assist with this, and Kat's been doing a great job, and Lisa assists with everything we do. So we just wanted to point that out to the loan committee, and thank the loan committee members
Well, we got one more here.
for their help.
We do, let's-
One
One
to
more? Okay.
Let's see.
Will that put us over the
I
top?
was just gonna say, we could go over 600.
Yeah.
Let's see how you all.
Anybody out there want to borrow some money? I'll be Monty Hall. Let's make a deal.
The next one is pretty amazing. So
It is, that's a great word for it. I'm gonna speak about that one, thanks, Sarah. So, yeah, this is Tivoli mushrooms. This is a bigger project, and it is amazing. Devin, can you hear me okay? I hope so. Devin Gilroy founded Tivoli Mushrooms in 2018. It started really as just a passion side project while he was the head chef at Hotel Tivoli. And it somewhat quickly grew into what's now really a full-time job for him. He's got distribution all over the Hudson Valley and in New York. He has outgrown his current space, which is down at 99 South 3rd in the warehouse, which we all know. And so he's outgrown that space, which is 4,000 square feet, and he has purchased land in Hillsdale, where he is going to erect a 15,000 square foot climate controlled warehouse. This is really a full-fledged mushroom farm now. Most of his sales at the moment are wholesale, grocery stores, restaurants, and Devin and his team are very kind of conscious of their strengths and any if there are weaknesses, and they acknowledge that they are probably overly dependent on one buyer right now. They are actively and very aggressively working to address that. And again, sort of talking about these chicken and egg situations, the new space is going to be really key for that, for kind of opening up new sales channels and building out the retail side of things. Because in the new space, he'll be able to have such increased output. He'll be able to produce more, deliver more. He'll be able to expand the retail side of things online at farmers markets with the whole Refresh CSA program. He'll also be able to get organic certification. That alone will open up certain new sales channels for him. It'll allow him to even raise the prices on certain products. He'll also be adding in tinctures and medicinals. You may have read through his business plan, which was quite robust. Mushrooms are, have certain growth down the road, we think, in textiles and in remediation. Martha and I joke that it's almost kind of like, is it becoming similar to a hemp type of product where there's just so many uses for mushrooms. In terms of his financial projections, they are ambitious. I'm sure you saw that and noticed that. But we know that even if he were to do half of what he hopes to do, he would still be able to service the debt with us. He is savvy. He grew up in an entrepreneurial family. Devin has surrounded himself with a great, very capable team of people. and people who really want to invest in him and believe in this business. He's raised $400,000 in capital from 6 equity investors. And the ask from us is for $75,000 for equipment, inventory, working capital. He is also applying to HVADC for $100,000. One other thing that Martha and I have talked about is that this in some ways feels similar to kind of a Talbot and Arding story, in that, you know, it's a big project. Somebody's at a sort of a milestone in the business. And, you know, he's really kind of put everything into this. He's very focused on growing this business. The rest of kind of his financials, his personal side of things is quite conservative. And in terms of collateral, we would be looking at equipment. There's significant equipment. We could potentially have a first mortgage on the building. We would want to negotiate all that with HVADC. But before we get to that, I want to hear your reactions. And again, just to be clear, the ask is for $75,000. We would do this as 60,000 CEDC and 15 from the SBA. And that's just to make sure that we're not using SBA money for new construction, which we're discouraged from doing.
Yeah, I remember it. I think it was Greene County was a big mushroom grower
Yes,
historically.
Canals.
You know, and just make a great newspaper article and everything, because you're bringing back an industry to this area.
Yeah.
I remember.
And that's
seeing
really why he
houses
started
over
it,
there.
because he realized there was nothing in the area.
Yeah.
And so he started one.
I have a series of questions.
Great.
Whippoorwill Road in Hillsdale is a pretty residential neighborhood. So I guess I raised that same question of who bought the land? I guess he bought the land through his LLC, and that was a cash purchase.
He co-purchased the land through a separate LLC. He owns the majority of it. The land was 125,000. He put in 65. And yes, in terms of zoning, we would need to double check that.
And he's assured us it is agriculturally zoned. He bought it from Phil Gellert.
Well, all the more reason to check. So he doesn't include that in his financials and projections. And by the way, he's kind of off a little bit in terms of tightening his paperwork and presentation to us, because he calls out the CEDC loan at 100,000 and it's not, it's 75.
That's right. That was originally what he had hoped for and what we discussed with him. We were more comfortable asking for 75. And Martha, do you have any other comment on that?
Right.
Yeah, he revised his projections, but we didn't have him go back and change the business plan.
Okay. I guess then we would be a lien ahead of this Helen and this other ACUS. I don't know who those people are, but they are lending money as part of this, but we would be in first lien position on the property.
Yeah. Yes, we would.
Okay, all right. He also is a little inconsistent in these projections, because he repeatedly says that he has one debt of 36,000 for a delivery vehicle, and in another part he says the delivery van has a balance of 7,600. It's a small point, but you know, I try to kind of make sense of these things, and it doesn't seem consistent. Does anybody know why his income dropped by 50%?
From 2019 to 2020.
Yeah.
We can confirm this with him, but from what we understood, a lot of that was that he was focusing more time on growing this business and less time cooking at Hotel Tivoli and the Corner Cafe.
Okay, but my understanding is he's a salaried employee by the owners to run that cafe and whatever, so.
Yes, he is.
So that's not a full-time gig, I guess, or maybe it's because the restaurant is not doing business. I just, you know, again, in terms of our presenting that we've done a thorough scrub, I think we should have an answer to that, because that's a flag. We already did talk about the fact that he's got, you know, a heavy reliance on one main customer. Again, I'm not saying this isn't worthy, but it's just, it's a, you know, a thing to stir into how we treat this as a risk thing. And I mention that because if you read through his narrative here, on the one hand, he talks about how mushroom businesses in the United States have failed or gone out of business because it's historically always been cheaper to import. But there is this very immediate, what I guess circumstantial, because of COVID and the greater difficulty in that import market, that now the prices have spiked. But at some point, that may not be the case. So he does say, pressures from product being imported at cheaper prices have pushed many out of business.
Yeah, I think too, at the same time, there is this, also the trajectory of just mushrooms, interest in mushrooms and mushrooms, you know, as food, as medicinals, is
Right.
growing at a certain pace where I completely, I'm nodding my head at what you're saying, but then I
Yeah.
think there's another trend going on which helps kind of mitigate for that.
Right.
Well, value added. Can you call
Yeah.
something medicinal if it's not a proven medicine? I have a question about calling the terminology of medicinal.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what the woman down there on Warren Street called her products.
What was it,
Sort of
holistic?
wellness or.
Is it holistic?
It was basically, she didn't use the term medicinal, yeah.
Well,
But I'm seeing it added mushroom powders and coffee and
Yeah.
tinctures and
I take a
everything. now.
reishi extract for needs work. I mean, I'm jealous actually. I love mushrooms. Even the research in it has been exponential. They're now even using mushrooms to digest plastic, which they didn't even think was possible. I mean,
Right.
they're
Yeah.
just, big tech is getting into fungus, because we forget mushrooms is not just like your portobello for a veggie burger. It's a whole kingdom. It's bigger than the plant kingdom and animal
Right.
kingdom combined. There's so many undiscovered out there that I just think, you know, people are finally realizing that there's so many more benefits to this, and we need to start putting money and businesses into that direction. I just think it's a great idea.
So I will also say that when I first read the business plan, I was focused on the risks. And then Devin came in and certainly impressed me. And when we find an individual who is that driven and that entrepreneurial and willing to take the risk, and we don't come across them that often. And Lauren mentioned it was similar to Kate Arding, who took a huge risk when she expanded Talbot and Arding. And it reminded me a little bit of Jamie Cloud at Miracle Springs Farm, you know, that we were really investing in the individual, not as much the project. Same with Noah Bernemoff down at Noah's, or I'm sorry, down at Otto's. And now he's purchased Little Cat Lodge, the former Swiss Hoot.
Right, and so that is important. So Martha, here's what I think. This is going to be before the board. And so I think in terms of the proper kind of cap or you know, handshake to this, he himself, to his credit, has identified in very explicit language the risks. We cannot assure you we will achieve profitability. We cannot assure you that we've successfully assessed the risks. We are dependent on, he's put it all out there. I think it's a fair thing, and actually probably a more gravitas thing, to let the board know he has put out these risks. So we all should know that, and we're grown-ups here, and we can acknowledge that. And with that, you're making the contribution, because I haven't met him and said, like the other loans that we've done, this is kind of countered or commanded by the strength of the person whom I've met, because I think that's a part of what we do. But I think that needs to be said in terms of the minutes and the board, that we just didn't have a lobotomy and lose our heads and forget to read the paperwork. We read it, we knew it, we understood it. And we had the benefit of your one-on-one as the reason for going forward.
And there's jobs created with this too,
Yes,
a few jobs.
yes,
Alright.
5 new full-time within the first couple of years.
Do we have any more questions? Anyone want to recuse themselves for this one? Nobody, good. All right, motion to approve and send it forward to the full board.
So moved.
Okay, Mike and Seth. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, unanimous. All right,
Thank you.
yes, it's gonna be interesting to watch this one. There's even a coffee creamer now at ShopRite. It's really good. It's mushroom based.
Well, the company, Echo Creative Design in Albany makes, environmentally friendly packaging out of mushrooms.
Mhm. Okay.
And now they went from making packaging to making bacon out of mushrooms.
Well, Lauren and I hope to visit the farm next week, and by the farm, I mean the L&B Chair Factory down on South Third Street.
Oh, that's good. We need time for me.
I'll see if we can get a confirmed date. Sure.
All right, so do we have any public comment? I don't see any public on here. Any public comment? None? Anyone else have anything coming up? Adjourn.
Make a
Mike?
motion, yep.
Someone out there, motion to adjourn?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Okay. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right,
Aye.
thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
I saw an amazing